here at Turner Field in Atlanta. Two teams who made the playoffs last year and two teams bound and determined to make the playoffs again this year. The Cincinnati Reds and the Atlanta Braves, as we bring you once again Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, presented by Taco Bell. And welcome again to Turner Field, the rubber match of a three-game series between the high-scoring Cincinnati Reds and the great pitching of the Atlanta Braves. The series began on Friday night. In the second inning, the Reds got off to an early start. Fred Lewis with an RBI double to cash in Scott Rowland, giving the Reds an early 1-0 lead. In the ninth inning, up 3-1, Ramon Hernandez tacks on a little insurance with a two-run homer of Craig Kimbrel. Cincinnati wins 5-1. Last night, the Braves got started early. Brian McCann with the first of two home runs that he would hit in the game. That came off Bronson Arroyo. Freddie Freeman would follow with a home run. It was 5-0 Atlanta. But in the fourth inning, the Reds came all the way back. Drew Stubbs with a three-run double to make it 5-3. Eventually, Joey Votto, the reigning MVP in the National League, would single in a run to tie it at 5. They would go to the 12th inning, tied at 6. Chipper Jones with his 12th career walk-off hit, an RBI single to score. Very excited Jordan Schaefer as Atlanta wins 7-6. And joined as always by Oral Hershiser and Bobby Valentine. Here in Atlanta tonight, we've got two teams who are really scrambling a little bit in the bullpen right now. The Cincinnati Reds, especially, Bobby, they need innings out of Johnny Cueto because Dusty Baker, take us inside the manager's office. They're in full-fledged scramble mode right now.
They are scrambling. The ship's taking on water. This is the 17th consecutive game where they're only 7-9 in the first 16. They're going to play 33 games in 34 days. Their bullpen's in shambles. Their offense is sputtering. They need to have Joey Votto go long and have Johnny Cueto on the mound go long into this game.
They had that 19-inning game on Wednesday, the 12-inning game last night, so they need some depth from their starter. The same thing can be said of the Atlanta Braves. They've got a pretty good guy on the mound right now in Jair Jurgens, leading the majors in ERA.
He is. He's really executing. He's executing with his location. His strike-throwing ability has been absolutely amazing. Not the best stuff in the world, but the way he executes, and it has led him to that ERA at 1.56 and also 6 wins in 8 starts. And how's he do it with a strike percentage? 7th in the NL at 66.2. He will come right after you, and he can put you away. 14 pitches an inning, only behind Kyle Loesch at number 1. So this guy can pitch. They hopefully can get him some runs because they need a W.
Jair Jurgens will face, among others, the National League leader in home runs, Jay Bruce, who's down on the field with our Buster Olney.
Jay, on April 26, you were hitting .226. Now you're on a pace to have 43 homers and 120 RBI. What turned it around for you?
I think just being comfortable, getting comfortable, understanding what they're trying to do to me, and obviously pitch selection. That's always been my biggest component for my success is my pitch selection.
Now tonight you face Jair Jurgens, one of the hottest pitchers in the National League. What has to be your approach?
I have swinging strikes. I can't get him to do what they want me to do, which is chase. And that, like I said, I think I talked to you in St. Louis, and that was the same deal for me. It's pitch selection. It's understanding, the game, the situation, and understanding what I can and can't handle.
Thanks, Jay. Wendy?
Buster, thank you very much. I'm here with Eric Hensky. Eric, Freddie Gonzalez told us earlier this afternoon that this offense had yet to really find its stride. How close is this line out to breaking out?
I think we're real close. We've been having good team at-bats, trying to get into the bullpen as quick as we can. And we're right on the verge. We just haven't strung those hits together like we should, and hopefully tonight's the night.
What's the best approach against Johnny Cueto?
I think hit off the fastball. He throws hard, so I'm going to be looking for that straight one early. Hopefully I get something up over the plate to hit.
Eric, thank you. Dan?
Wendy, thank you very much. Also coming up today on this Memorial Day weekend, we will look at some prominent major leaguers who served their country. Also around the majors with the baseball tonight, some of the big moments from today in Major League Baseball. And Memorial Day, of course, is also a traditional measuring stick in the Major League season. We'll take a look at who is leading their divisions at this point of the season. It should be a good one tonight here in Atlanta. The Major League leader in ERA, Jair Jurgens, and the Atlanta Braves set to take on the Cincinnati Reds when we come back. Yeah.
Atlanta was the center of the Old South, but that's ancient history now. Atlanta today is the center of a better place. It's a place where people work together, live together, pray together, play together. Life, commerce, culture, sports, baseball. That's what I'm talking about.
Such great tradition, of course, here in Atlanta. That great run with 14 consecutive division titles, winning the World Series in 1995. You go back further, Hank Aaron, of course, hit so many of his home runs in this town. The Atlanta Braves and the Cincinnati Reds on Sunday Night Baseball this week in the rubber match of a 3-game series. They return to field on a day where the temperature exceeded 90 degrees. It's cooled off just a little bit. Good for Buster and Wendy down on the field. You can follow Buster Olney and Wendy Nix on Twitter. Also like us on Facebook at facebook.com/ESPN Baseball Tonight. Dusty Baker, the manager of the Cincinnati Reds, every day brings a new roster move, a new pitcher coming up from the minors. The 19-inning game, the 12-inning games, some short starts, and one day at a time may as well be the motto of Johnny B. Baker right now. Just trying to get to tomorrow, by the way, when they begin a series with division rival Milwaukee. Time now for the Cincinnati Reds lineup. Presented by Taco Bell. Drew Stubbs, Brandon Phillips, Joey Votto, 1, 2, 3. Scott Rowland is the cleanup hitter. Jay Bruce, who's got 10 home runs in the month of May, hitting 5th. Fred Lewis batting 6th. Ramon Hernandez behind the plate. Paul Janisch, the shortstop, will bat 8th. And batting 9th to the pitching is Johnny Cueto. On the mound, the second time we've seen him on Sunday Night Baseball this year. And again, a guy who's not going to dazzle you or blow you away, but he's going to get you out. Jair Jurgens.
Yeah, this young man has been outstanding as the word pitcher goes. He can locate, he throws lots of strikes, and he comes right after you. The walks per 9 inning at 1.40, one of the best in the National League. And those 6 victories, it took him 20 starts last year to get 7 victories, 8 starts this year, 6 victories, and he's number 2 behind Roy Halladay in the fewest walks for 9 innings.
And he will use his defense. Not a huge strikeout guy. Who are you highlighting defensively, Bobby?
Well, you got to look at the big first baseman, Freddie Freeman. He saves a lot of errors. He's very rangy at first, and he's the guy that many people believe has solidified the infield defense.
You can see alongside Ugla on the right side of the infield. David Ross will get the start. Brian McCann, after catching 12 innings last night with a day game tomorrow, McCann is out of the lineup, and the very capable Ross is catching tonight for Jurgens. There's Freddie Freeman, rookie, starting to turn it on a little bit more over the bat. The Braves are very excited about him defensively as well. The Cincinnati Reds, and a lot of teams are in this boat, a lot of injuries this year. The lineup that Dusty Baker wrote onto his lineup card, the 49th different lineup that they have used this season. This is their 54th game, and they have used 49 different lineups. Now, the good news is they lead the National League in runs scored, but they have been a little up and down, a little hot and cold offensively. We'll see how they do against Jurgens tonight. Stubbs making his way to the plate, a leadoff hitter with some power and some speed. He'll be followed by Brandon Phillips and then Joey Votto here in the top of the first against Jurgens. Cincinnati winning 5-1 on Friday night. The Braves coming back with a 7-6 win in 12 innings last night. And the first pitch is well hit to right center field, pretty deep, but tracking it back, Jordan Schaefer in his 5th game with Atlanta since getting called up for the minors after Nate McLouth went on the DL.
I think there's a chance of him being a difference maker. Schaefer is here, outstanding defensive player, adds speed, the hit and run ability at the plate, the bump for a base hit ability. I think he is exactly what this Atlanta offense and defense needs.
So 1 pitch and 1 out for Jurgens. Here's Brandon Phillips hitting .308 on the season. Phillips, a former All-Star last year, also a 3-time Gold Glove Award winner. You heard all the personality he had in the interview with Buster Olney before the game. He is one of the most renowned tweeters in Major League Baseball right now. He loves to engage the public, has a lot of personality, has a lot of fun playing the game. And he lifts a fly ball to center field. This one far more routine for Schaefer. Quickly 2 down. So a couple of quick outs for Jurgens, who does keep his pitch count down because he's around the plate. He'll now face the reigning most valuable player in the National League, first baseman Joey Votto. He was hitting for a great average, has great on base percentage. The power numbers are down, but he is, it appears, just not getting the pitches to hit that he got a year ago. Seems the same thing is happening over the American League with Jose Bautista of the Toronto Blue Jays. The book is out on these guys now after they demolished pitching last year. And both guys are not getting very many good pitches to hit.
As a pitcher, you pitch to a scouting report, you pitch to a past experience you had with a hitter. But once they build their reputation and have hurt you a little bit, you start to avoid them.
Check the swing, says John Tompain down at third. Dan Iasonia's working the plate tonight. CB Bucknor is at first, and the crew chief Dale Scott is out at second base. There's a strike at the knees, 2-2.
With Jurgens, as you see the velocities come up and you see it's a fastball, he'll go 83 was probably his changeup. 87, 88 will be the bottom end of the fastball, and then he can go all the way up to 93, 94.
Trying to come inside, and a missed up and in. A full count now on Votto, and obviously the game plan, Oral, is they don't want to let him hard in, soft away. They don't want to let him get his arms extended on a fastball.
And they definitely want to keep the ball in if they're going to throw it hard. Hard away to him is not a very good pitch.
And he chases down low as Jurgens strikes out Votto to end the inning. 3 up and 3 down to go the Reds in the top of the first. Johnny Cueto to the mound for Cincinnati when we come back. Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And in part by Firestone, the official tire of Major League Baseball. Back for the bottom of the first here in Atlanta with Oral Hershiser and Bobby Valentine. I'm Dan Schulman. Here's the Braves starting lineup presented by Taco Bell. As mentioned, Jordan Schaefer now leading off. Martin Prado, the left fielder, batting second. Chipper Jones, who had the game winner last night, playing third, batting third. Eric Hinsky hitting cleanup. Ryan McCann's not in the lineup tonight. Freddie Freeman batting fifth. The struggling Dan Uggla in the sixth spot. Alex Gonzalez at short, batting seventh. David Ross behind the plate for McCann tonight, batting eighth. And Jair Jurgens pitching and batting ninth. What do we expect, Oral, tonight from Johnny Cueto?
Electric stuff. Great breaking ball, great changeup, electric fastball in the high 90s, mid 90s. And I'll tell you what, they need innings from him. He's had some solid starts throughout the year. You see all the way back to May 8th, he was on the 15-day DL at the beginning of the year. His only loss this year is that 5 innings against Pittsburgh.
Schaefer stands in and looks at a strike. Schaefer hitting .278 since the call-up. A couple of years ago, this guy was one of the, if not the, most highly thought of prospect coming up through their system. Soft liner over the head of a leaping Phillips into shallow right center for a base hit.
Dan, I got to talk to this young man before the game yesterday, and he's determined not only to do well, but to stay and make his mark here at the Major League level. He had an opportunity in the past. That opportunity went awry after he hurt his right wrist and then had to spend some time in the minor leagues. Now he's back, and he thinks he's here to stay. I believe he is also. He's a very good talent.
Here's Martin Prado. Hitting in the 2 spot for the Braves, a spot at which he is very comfortable. Just a professional hitter, a professional ball player. Whatever Freddie Gonzalez needs, Martin Prado delivers. He plays every day. They moved him from infield out to left field because they had a hole out there. They picked up Uggla, so Prado went out to the outfield. Schaefer does have some speed, which is something you can't say about a lot of Atlanta Braves. They're on an historic pace right now in terms of the lack of stolen bases. They have only stolen 9 bases in 53 games, and they've been thrown out 14 times.
And I asked Freddie Gonzalez before the game, does Schaefer have a green light? He said sometimes. I would think early in the game that sometimes applies.
Freddie Gonzalez, first-year manager of the Braves, former coach here in Atlanta, and then for the last few years the manager with the Florida Marlins before coming back and replacing Bobby Cox. And it seemed kind of a fait accompli as soon as Gonzalez was relieved of his duties with the Marlins that he would be back here in Atlanta, and it seems almost seamless, the change from Bobby Cox to Freddie Gonzalez. Sharply hit to short. Giannis, Phillips, Votto, double play. Well, we told you off the top of the show that the Reds are in scramble mode right now, and this is because of all the innings they have played. Most notably, a 19-inning game Wednesday night against Philadelphia, with some extra inning games and the starters not doing that well. Look at the work the bullpen has had to do over the last week, and as a result, the Reds have made roster moves almost every day. Chipper Jones is the batter. Chipper with a game-winning hit in the 12th inning last night off Carlos Fisher.
And it was his 53rd extra inning hit, tying Vasquez for active players with most extra base hits in their career. I mean, extra inning hits.
Vasquez with the White Sox now. He and Chipper each with 53 extra inning hits in their careers. It was the 12th walk-off hit of Chipper Jones' career. Ooh, up and in with a fastball at 93. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
This is a night when Johnny B would love Cueto not to use any waste pitches. Just get them out quick. Needs them to go deep into the game.
Got him with a slider. Gets Jones swinging to end the inning. And we're at the end of one. No score with National League home run leader Jay Bruce due up second when we come back. Top second here in Atlanta. Dan Shulman to Bobby Valentine, Oral Hershiser. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. No score between the Reds and the Braves as we go to the second. Scott Rowland leads off the inning. He pops the first pitch up and back out of play over near the first base dugout. We have some hitters in swing mode here tonight. Some pitchers who are throwing strikes. And that's all good news to the two managers. As we mentioned, both of these bullpens have been working overtime. You can see that Rowland's done a nice job since coming back off the DL. His latest stint dealing with that chronically troublesome left shoulder. Lines it to center. Schaefer. They're making some pretty good contact so far. Jair Jurgens is the National League home run leader. Jay Bruce makes his way to the plate now to face Jurgens. Seems like Bruce has been around forever. He is still just 24 years of age. And he's got 14 home runs right now, 10 of them in the month of May.
Has a very calm approach right now. Seeing the ball well, very confident, thinking that he is here to stay and make an impact at the major league level.
High fly ball, right center field, gave it a ride and gone. Right on cue, number 15 for Bruce. Cincinnati strikes first.
They're swinging very aggressively, like you said, Dan, and when you leave a pitch up in the zone and it's not your good heat, it usually winds up as a souvenir. And here's an 84-mile-an-hour changeup that Bruce gets firm on the front side, gets off of the backside, connects with this ball, and there is no doubt from swing to landing.
Just the third home run given up by Jurgens this year in 59 innings of work, and there was very little doubt about it from the moment it left Bruce's bat. Fred Lewis, the batter. These Reds can hurt you a lot of different ways offensively when they're clicking. They've got power. They'll hit for average. They'll take their walks. They'll steal their bases. Playing half their games at Great American Ballpark doesn't hurt, but this is a potent offensive bunch. Fly ball left field. Prado back with room on the track. 2 down. Orel, 6 batters, 5 balls in the air, 4 of them hard hit.
Cincinnati has decided that J.R. Jurgens is going to throw strikes. They've also decided that he's probably not going to throw his breaking ball until he gets ahead, and that's exactly what they're getting. They're getting fastballs and a couple changeups, and when it's all straight, you just hit it between the 2 lines fair hard, and you've got a chance. He's going to have to make an adjustment.
Catcher Ramon Hernandez.
And it was mentioned how many lineups Dusty Baker has used this year. But remember, he has 2 right-handed hitting catchers that he mixes and matches with his different pitchers. That allows that number to be exacerbated, I think. And this is one of his good catchers.
Getting a lot of offensive production from the combination of Ramon Hernandez and Ryan Hannigan. Right up near the top. Hernandez hitting .318, 7 home runs already. Pulls a ground ball between third and short. Gonzalez from the outfield grass to get him. Good range and a great throw by one of the steadiest shortstops in Major League Baseball. The great defensive shortstops in Major League Baseball, but probably just because he's not that flashy. But boy, he makes some good plays. He's thought of as steady and solid, but Alex Gonzalez just made a terrific play to get Ramon Hernandez in the top of the 2nd inning. The Reds lead 1-0 on the home run by Jay Bruce as Eric Hinsky, a hot hitter, steps in for Atlanta. Hinske getting a chance to play right field for the injured Jason Hayward on the DL with a sore right shoulder. Hayward not yet swinging a bat, still at least several days away. As Hinske checks the swing, it's 3-0.
Saw Jason Hayward before the game shagging balls. He had very fluid movements when he was running and catching the ball with a glove. It's his right hand, the glove's on. And his right shoulder that he has injured, so I think he's close to resuming baseball activities.
It was such a terrific rookie season a year ago for Hayward. Counted on to be such a big part of the offense. Ground ball left side rolling, ranging way to his left. Will throw out him on down.
Well, you know, when Gonzalez ranged to his right in the previous inning, he had to slow down, and the way he slowed down is by sliding, and then he planted his right foot perfectly and threw off of that right foot. As he's sliding here, this is how he breaks his inertia. He plants his right foot, and this right foot has the inside ankle bone pointing at first base, which directs this throw perfectly. Nice job.
Freddie Freeman, the batter. Gonzalez getting Ramon Hernandez on that play easily by about 2 or 3 steps after that great throw.
Ramon's not very fleet of foot. Great play, though.
Way inside again. And did it hit him? Yes, it did. And Iasonia saying that grazed the midsection of the jersey of Freddie Freeman, who will take his base.
Well, Johnny Cueto has been throwing the fastball into these left-handed hitters, and he has missed in off the plate a couple times. This one just a little bit too far. And it grazes the blouse.
You know, Freddie was swinging the bat very well last night. Had 3 hits on breaking balls and fastballs down out over the plate. They came into this game saying we have to bust him inside, and just went a little outside of the scouting report.
Dan Uggla, the batter.
Johnny Cueto didn't think this hit him.
Looks like you might have a case.
Earl, your thoughts?
There's a base hit through the left side for Dan Uggla, who has been struggling as much as any hitter in the majors, really. First year with Atlanta. Spoke a few days ago about trying to justify the big contract he signed with the Braves. If they can get his bat going like it did in Florida for the last several years, what a spark that would give the offense.
And Freddie Gonzalez was asking him not to listen to too many people. Don't get confused by what you hear. Listen to Larry Parrish. Listen to Lee Ilya. But don't be listening to the bus driver and the cotton candy salesman. Go up there and understand what you have to do. There's Freddie. He said just make it simple. Understand, listen to one person.
First and second, 1 out. Alex Gonzalez, the batter. Johnny Cueto making his 5th start of the season. Dusty Baker said he spent all day thinking about and hoping for a lot of innings from Johnny Cueto. Weekly hit toward third. Roland meets it at the bag for 1 out. Across to first, not in time.
Scott Rowland, one of the best down there at third base, times his charge so that he can pick the ball up and tag the bag, get the footwork right so he can go right into his throw, one crow hop, and just not enough arm to get the runner at first, but it was very close.
Joey Votto didn't have enough
is
feet.
not even on the bag.
He didn't have enough of feet. I think Scotty had the arm. Joe was surprised that the ball came over at that velocity. What could that have been?
And you can see where Roland ranks all time among some of the great defensive third basemen. 8 Gold Gloves in his career, including 1 last year.
And Earl, it was great how you mentioned he timed his steps. He had those short, choppy steps before he fielded that ball to allow him to touch the base with his right foot, come up throwing.
So 2 on, 2 out for David Ross, the catcher.
I think Votto became a spectator.
Yeah.
He became a spectator.
Maybe he thought it was fall.
Maybe.
At second, Dan Uggla. At first, Alex Gonzalez. And Ross hits a high chopper foul, third base side. Brian McCann catching 12 innings last night. He'll catch the day game tomorrow that the Braves will play. So David Ross getting a chance to start in his place. ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball continues this week on both Tuesday and Wednesday. Both games coming from the same place. Tuesday night, 7 Eastern, the Giants and Cardinals in a game 2 of their 4-game series. And then Wednesday night baseball presented by Sears Lawn and Garden at 8 Eastern again. The Giants and Cardinals. Major League Baseball Tuesday night and Wednesday night on ESPN. Tim Lincecum scheduled to start the Wednesday game for the Giants. Johnny Cueto wanted Ramon Hernandez to start the signs over again. Goes to the rosin bag at the back of the mound, and now they'll get it started. Well located fastball, inner half, 1-2. Ross hitting over 300 in 36 at-bats. He's got 3 home runs and 9 RBIs. One of the best number 2 catchers in baseball. Swing and a miss there, and a nasty sinking fastball from Cueto. And the Braves leave a couple of men on, still trailing 1-0 at the end of 2.
Braves trail the Cincinnati Reds 1-0. The Red Sox and Tigers rained out on Saturday, so they played 2. The Red Sox already winners in Game 1. Game 2 underway. Brennan Bosch with the double, and that will score a run.
Well, I tell you what, someone's going to have to slow down the Red Sox right now. They've won 13 of their last 15. This is a great start for the Tigers.
Up next, Cabrera, that will score Bosch. And the Tigers, trying to bounce back after the loss earlier in the day, they now lead 2-0.
Well, Miguel Cabrera, the RBI machine, another base hit the other way to drive in a run.
And don't look now, but it looks like another season when the Red Sox started off 2-10. What's been the difference in their turnaround?
Well, they're playing to the way they're capable of playing, and that's all they're doing. They're playing the way that they thought they could play this spring, and they are hot as anyone.
It's all about getting comfortable. They're certainly comfortable right now.
Seeing is believing. The Red Sox certainly look comfortable right now. We send it back inside to Dan Schulman.
Hi, Wendy. John, Barry, thank you very much. The Red Sox, after that awful start, now lead the American League East. This is, of course, Memorial Day weekend, one of the traditional measuring sticks, as we mentioned earlier, for the Major League season. The Red Sox have the lead in the American League East. A game and a half up on the Yankees. Cleveland, although they struggled with Tampa Bay this weekend, they are still on top in the AL Central. And it's really anybody's division right now in the American League West, with Texas leading, but top to bottom separated by just a game and a half. Here's Paul Janisch, the Cincinnati shortstop. Lines the ball into right field. It'll drop for a base hit, and that has been a rarity for the Reds lately, Bobby, getting any offense out of either Janisch or Edgar Renteria, their two shortstops.
Yeah, this is a ball that he just got out over the plate. Not a great swing, but a line drive to right. It's going to look great in the box score and help his confidence. A lot of people think that Jose Reyes might be a candidate to be a shortstop here with this Cincinnati team.
He's an excellent candidate to be an ex-Met fairly soon, don't you think? Although we don't know where he might go. Johnny Cueto shows my throw down to first. Got him. The Braves pick off Giannis.
Dan, you mentioned how valuable David Ross is. Here he is playing once a week. Brian McCann is the regular catcher and plays as much as anyone in baseball. He puts this play on, has the backdoor play with the second baseman, bunts through it, comes up throwing. Uggla's there, great timing.
Combination of Brian McCann and David Ross as good as it gets behind the plate in Major League Baseball.
Tell you what, the confidence to throw that ball without Uggla there, creeping in on the bag, but not many reps, still get it accurate.
2-4 on the putout with Uggla coming across as Freeman was charging.
And then he was charging early, and you charge early to make that runner get off just a little more. Knowing that plays on, you leave the base early, the runner takes a little liberty, sneak up behind him, pick him off.
1-2 to Cueto. Got him.
So you see how the play's designed. Here comes Freddie. He's early. Uggla comes in behind Giannis. And we mentioned he wasn't on base very often because he hasn't been hitting very often. Great play. Out. No chance. Perfect throw. Yes. We're together in this thing. Practice it in spring training. You don't have much time to practice it during the season. You execute it during the season. And they did.
Drew Stubbs is the batter, and he takes a fastball over the outside corner for a called strike. Stubbs, the leadoff hitter for the Reds, hit a fly ball to deep right center. His first time up. Well, we showed you the American League division leaders here on Memorial Day weekend. Let's check in quickly with the National League, where the Philadelphia Phillies are up a couple of games on Florida. St. Louis, in spite of the issues they've had, they lead the National League Central. And yes, the Arizona Diamondbacks are leading the National League West right now. They are one of the hottest teams in baseball. They beat Houston again today, swept that series. Their bullpen has been absolutely terrific. This is one of the big surprises in all of baseball so far this season.
Cleveland Indians and the Arizona Diamondbacks.
The Giants, meanwhile, have lost 7 of their last 8 to fall out of first, and of course now are going to be without Buster Posey for, in all likelihood, the rest of the season.
Well, they were losing. The Diamondbacks are winning. 10 out of 11. That's how you get to first place in a hurry.
Over the outside corner, full count. Arizona on top by a half game. Colorado under 500, but just 3.5 out. Then the Dodgers and the Padres in the NL West.
I run into a lot of people and they say, do you still talk to Kirk Gibson? Well, he's out there managing those Diamondbacks. They didn't even know what he was doing.
Yep.
He knew they needed an attitude change.
Sure did.
And he wasn't going to accept anything less than a complete change.
He was a detail-oriented player, and he's a detail-oriented manager, and especially when it comes to intensity in the moment-by-moment parts of the game.
Outside corner, strike 3 called. And the inning is over. Great defensive play and a couple of strikeouts here in the top of the 3rd. The bottom of the third here at Turner Field. Of course, Atlanta, the home of Hank Aaron for so many years. Time now for our Weber Grill fan experience. The parking lot just outside of Turner Field is a portion of the left field wall from the old stadium, Fulton County Stadium, over which Hank Aaron launched his historic 715th home run on April the 8th, 1974. That's when he passed Babe Ruth to become baseball's all-time home run leader, a record that he held until he was passed by Barry Bonds. What an extraordinary career. And you can see from our vantage point here at Turner Field, the old left field wall from Fulton County Stadium. Henry Aaron, of course, handling himself with class and dignity during his playing career, after his playing career. Not just a great home run hitter. He had a .305 lifetime average. Jair Jurgens leading it off. He is still baseball's all-time leader in RBIs. Won 3 Gold Gloves. Inside a ball and 2 strikes on Jurgens. Inside on the appeal, he didn't go. 2-2.
Dan, Hank could have won many Gold Gloves, but he was competing against the likes of Roberto Clemente and Frank Robinson and others who were spectacular right fielders during his day. But he was a complete player, an absolute, from A to Z, complete baseball player. Run the bases, throw accurately to bases, make the play with the backhand in the gap, can charge ground balls, and he was one of the guys at Danny Ozark who mentored all the young Dodgers when I was coming up, would make us come out and watch take infield. Watch how he does it. That's the right way.
There's strike 3 called. Jurgens retired, 1 down. Well, Hank Aaron, again, known primarily for the 755 home runs, but as you say, Bob, he's such an extraordinarily talented player. One of the great facts about Aaron is if you take away all of his home runs, every single one of them, he still had over 3,000 hits. This guy was a complete player who also was a great home run hitter.
And I remember being a player rep, and the player reps sitting around wondering how they could keep Hank playing. And the designated hitter idea came into vogue to keep him in the game so people can see the greatness of him and others who were retiring during the early 70s.
Back to the top of the order for Jordan Schaefer. The Reds are in tight on the corners, wary of a bunt. He hits a ground ball right to the second baseman Phillips. Just like that, 2 down. We mentioned April the 8th, 1974. Hank Aaron breaking Babe Ruth's home run record. Hit it off Al Downing of the Dodgers. 1974 was his last year as a Brave. He would finish up with 2 years as a Milwaukee Brewer. Who was standing in the on-deck circle when Hank Aaron hit the home run? None other than Dusty Baker, who began his career here in Atlanta, spent about 6 years with the Braves, and was on deck when Hammer and Hank broke the Babe's record.
Al Downing just didn't want to pitch to Dusty. He had to throw a strike to old Hank. Yes, sir. And that was Billy Buckner climbing the fence and Tom House making the play in the bullpen.
No appeal, so the count goes to 2-0 now on Prado. Dusty Baker with the Braves, then the Dodgers, Oakland later in his career as well. Dusty could swing the bat a little bit back in the day.
And he said what an impact Hank Aaron had on his life back then and even now to this day.
Prado chases the ball up and away. The count 2-1. Prado grounding into a double play back in the first inning. Atlanta got the leadoff man in the first, but erased on that double play ball. Had 2 on with a 1 out in the second. Couldn't cash him in. Breaking ball grounded to third. Rolling, and the inning is over. Still 1-0 Cincinnati. We'll go to the fourth, and some of the heavy hitters are coming up for the Reds. Presented by Taco Bell is brought to you by Ink, the new business card from Chase. Make your mark with Ink. Dan Schulman to Bobby Valentine, Oral Hershiser, Buster Olney, Wendy Nix, John Kruk, Barry Larkin, all here at Turner Field in Atlanta. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, a rubber match of a 3-game series. The Reds lead the Braves 1-0. Brandon Phillips leads it off. And takes a breaking ball in for a strike from Jair Jurgens. Phillips with a fly ball to center his first time up.
Many people think this young man's the best second baseman in the game of baseball today. I think that's the National League fans who haven't looked over in the Bronx in New York, but he sure is a terrific player.
Fouled it off and got a piece of Dan Iasonia, the home plate umpire. The count now 0-2. Well, one thing that Brandon Phillips has, in addition to a terrific glove, is a power-speed combination that really very few players have. One of just 5 players in the bigs with better than 100 homers and 100 steals since the start of the 2006 season. And some pretty good names on that list.
And I think most people will be most surprised by David Wright's name on that list.
Right center field. Schaefer. One down.
Well, Eric Hinske never saw that ball off the bat, and he was standing in the same place when the ball was caught. Luckily, he had some help because Schaefer had it all the way.
Joey Votto, the batter. Votto striking out, chased a pitch down near the dirt his first time up. This time he lines a base into right field.
Jair Jurgens has only thrown 1 breaking ball, and when you face these quality hitters like Votto, you're going to have to start mixing the pitches up a little bit. Here we get a 83-mile-an-hour changeup. It's straight, and he does a great job staying on it and through. Good timing to be still on the changeup. Swing did not break down. Got him out in front, but there still was a little bit of balance left.
So 1 on, 1 out for the Reds in the top of the 4th. Here's Scott Rowland. The time that Rowland was out, a little bit beyond that as well. Brandon Phillips was hitting cleanup for the Reds, but he's back up at the 2 spot now. Rowland is hitting 4th. Jay Bruce, who leads the National League in home runs, he's hitting 5th. That kind of breaks up the lefties in the order, Bobby. You've got Phillips, a righty, hitting 2nd, then Votto, a lefty, hitting 3rd. Back to Rowland, a righty, then back to Bruce, a lefty.
That's to negate the bullpen, but Jay Bruce right now is hitting .350 against left-handers. There's no reason you have to break up Votto and Bruce because there's no one to negate their excellence nor their power.
And Votto's hitting over 400 against lefties so far this year. He does have 4 steals on the season. A swing and a miss, 1-2. Now the count on Rowland. Mark Berry, the 3rd base coach, flashing the signs down to the plate. Bruce is on deck. The Reds up 1-0. St. Louis won earlier today. One of the teams ahead of them in the National League Central. So did Milwaukee. Milwaukee's a team playing very well right now, but a team that the Reds will meet in a series beginning tomorrow. The Brewers are getting some very good pitching right now. Ryan Braun's hitting the ball very well, and right now the 3 teams that most people expected to contend in the National League Central, they're sitting 1, 2, 3.
When we went into Dusty's office today, who was on the TV? The Brewers. Who did he mention in the press conference? The Brewers. He knows they're there. He knows they're playing great ball, and they have a very talented baseball team.
Rotation with Greinke, Gallardo, Markham.
Trade deadline approaching. No mention of Prince Fielder leaving that team.
High and deep to center. Schaefer back. Makes the catch on the track. Votto's going to tag and slide in safely at second base.
You know, there's defensive excellence that sometimes goes unnoticed. Orel, he had a perfect break on that ball, hit straight over his head. He goes all the way back to the warning track, then catches his ball, plants his left foot, and throws a strike to second base 300 feet away. It's a talented young man. As he gets it, he takes that one little shuffle step, throws it in the air.
That's a very strong arm.
That's a strong arm.
You think about Rick Ankiel and what he did out there in center field. That's an arm that rivals that.
So you think he's going to be here a while?
I think he's going to be the center fielder for this team for a long time unless he gets injured or does something crazy.
Runner at second, 2 down. Here's Bruce. Bruce with his National League leading 15th home run of the season back in the second inning, deep into the seats in right. His 11th home run in the month of May. Now Fred Lewis is the on-deck hitter. Now will they just put him on? Looks like they're going to. Yep, David Ross stands up with the base open. A guy with 15 home runs at the plate. Makes all the sense in the world.
So right here they're choosing to pitch to Lewis instead of to Bruce, and so the guy on deck does matter on when you get pitches or not.
Well, I guess it does sometimes. I guess sometimes the two guys who are leading the leagues in home runs don't have too many guys hitting behind them.
Tuesday night at 9 Eastern on ABC, the NBA Finals get underway. It'll be LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh of the Miami Heat against Dirk Nowitzki and the Dallas Mavericks. Coverage begins Tuesday at 8:30 Eastern with the Buick Regal NBA Countdown. The game can also be seen on ESPN 3D. Here's Lewis. Two men on with 2 down for Lewis here in the 4th inning. Hit a fly ball to left field his first time up. There's been a lot of talk about the risks of injury that catchers take, and we'll talk about Buster Posey's situation a little bit later on in the evening. But take a look and have a listen at this on the follow through by Fred Lewis. Ross never even blinked. I'd say you got to want to play back there.
Yeah, and understand, up until 1976, there weren't helmets being worn by catchers,
right.
So that swing right there would have hit the hat of the catcher and then the head.
And then they started wearing the liners.
Then we went to a helmet under the catcher's mask.
Yep,
and now you have the entire mask that's a one piece.
And that hockey mask that they wear now
Yes.
is very light. The way it hits the top of your head instead of the heavy mask on the front.
Inside, a ball and 2 strikes.
Jurgens has been using the fastball, spotting the fastball, and that one just missed.
And a fly ball to right center field. Schaefer taking charge. Inning over. 2 men left on by the Reds. Chipper Jones, Eric Hinsky, Freddie Freeman. 3, 4, 5 coming up for the Braves when we come back. Baseball on ESPN presented by Taco Bell. It's the Reds 1 of the Braves nothing going to the bottom of the fourth. Time now for FaceTime presented by Edward Jones. Buster Olney spoke with the Reds manager Dusty Baker between innings.
Dusty, what's Johnny Cueto giving you so far tonight?
Well, tonight he's giving us a lot of first pitch strikes and looked like he's throwing the ball great. He's 94 to 96, and well, if he's throwing that fastball, especially if he's throwing it inside, that kind of opens up the outside part of the plate.
Yeah, Jay Bruce got off to a slow start for you guys. Now he's on fire. National League leading, 15 homers. What turned it around for him?
Well, I think a lot of that's due to pitch selection, plus he's not fouling off balls, like he usually does, and fouls them off that puts him in a two-strike situation. So, the balls that he's supposed to put in play, that's what he's doing, and a lot of them going over the fence.
Dusty, thanks. Dan, back to you.
Buster, Dusty, thank you. As we go to the bottom of the fourth, Chipper Jones is the batter for Atlanta against Johnny Cueto. A big start for the Reds because of all the extra inning games and the work the bullpen has done. They need innings. They need quality innings. It kind of seems that the Reds will go as their rotation goes, as the count runs to 3-0 now on Chipper Jones. Ryan Price, the pitching coach, sitting alongside Dusty Baker. There's Bronson Arroyo, who was lit up last night for the second start in a row. So there's some concern there. 14 earned runs in his last two starts. Homer Bailey was on the DL. Now he's gone back on the DL. Bouncer to second for out number one. Edinson Volquez, who was the opening day starter for the Reds, is down in the minors right now, trying to get his game going again. And as you can see, out of 16 National League teams, Oral, the Reds are at or near the bottom in just about every category for their starting pitchers.
Yeah, they have not done the job, and they came in advertised this year to be really the strength of this team, and it really was exciting for Cincinnati at spring training. They thought they were coming in under the radar with all the news around Boston and Philadelphia. They thought they had the starting pitching, the bullpen, and the offense in order.
Eric Hinsky, the batter. They're literally at the point right now where they're calling up players that Dusty Baker doesn't know, didn't see in spring training, isn't familiar with. It appears, although they haven't announced it, that Chad Reineke is going to come up to start Tuesday in Homer Bailey's spot. They've also got Travis Wood in the rotation. Mike Leake has come back from the minors. He made a start for them Friday. He'll start again Wednesday against Milwaukee. Another ground ball to second. Phillips to a knee. 2 down. And you just wonder in the coming weeks if Walt Jocketty, the general manager of the Reds, is going to be a busy man. He's got a long history going back to his days with St. Louis of making in-season moves. He doesn't sit by idly when his team needs something. For more, let's go down to Buster Olney.
That's exactly right. There's a lot of speculation around baseball that the Reds will be aggressive and upgrade in left field and shortstop if they don't get more offense. But what teams are saying about Jose Reyes is he's going to be very expensive. The Mets are going to ask for a lot because they, of course, have to offset the draft picks that they would get if he stays with the Mets and becomes a free agent.
So, Bobby, if you're involved with the Cincinnati Reds and you've got one deal to make, do you get a pitcher or do you try to get Jose Reyes?
I'd get Jose Reyes. I think their pitching is going to come back. Volquez down there had a good outing today. He just has this first inning thing that he has to get over.
That troublesome first inning thing.
Yeah, as I say.
He's given up a run or runs in 9 of his 11 first innings this year.
Including in the minor leagues.
Including in the minors, yeah.
That's a concentration issue for me. That's a warm-up, and then it becomes mental.
1-2 to Freddie Freeman. Bounced in.
Chapman also threw in the minor leagues today.
And didn't throw so well. An inning and 2/3. I think gave up 4 runs on 4 hits. He's down there. They're calling it some shoulder inflammation, but really just trying to get his mechanics back in order. He was walking everybody up here. So Volquez, their opening day starter, Chapman, their 100-mile-an-hour left-handed reliever, are both in the minors right now. Although again, technically, Chapman is on the DL. Two. Another breaking ball in the dirt.
The The book on Johnny Cueto is that he has unbelievable stuff, great movement and location, but he loses focus sometimes. And sometimes it's easier to stay out of jams than it is to get out of them.
Strikes out a frustrated Freeman. 8 in a row now set down by Johnny Cueto. The fifth time now for more FaceTime presented by Edward Jones. Buster Olney with Brian McCann between innings.
Brian McCann, another solid outing. Jair Jurgens tonight. How has he evolved into one of the better pitchers in the National League?
He's able to sink his two-seamer. He's able to throw a four-seamer, and he changes speeds as well as anybody in the game. And in his changeup, he changes his speeds on that as well. And then when he's got his slider working, he's got 3 pitches that he throws in the zone, and he changes speeds on all of them.
Now, we saw early in today's game, Cincinnati hitters aggressive early in the count. What's an adjustment you make as a catcher in that situation?
You got to bust him in. I mean, that's what he does so well is he hits his spots. And when you go in, you know what's going to be in or it's going to be black. It's going to be black or it's going to be in. And that opens up his changeup away. And you can't just sit on one side of the corner with Jair.
Thanks, Brian. Dan, back to you.
All right, Buster, thank you. Jair Jurgens, a pitcher in the truest sense of the word. Again, not overpowering, but you heard Brian McCann's scouting report. Ground ball there by Ramon Hernandez for the first out of the inning. And now Paul Janisch takes a strike. Out of play, 0-2. Jurgens was acquired from the Tigers back in 2007 for Edgar Renteria. Had a couple of very good years, especially 2009 when he had a 2.60 ERA. As Janisch lifts a fly ball to left field. And there to make the play is Prado. Let's take a look now at our pro tips, brought to you by Cabot Wood Stains.
Jair Jurgens is the true sense of a pitcher, and when he hits his spots, he gets a lot of people out. 8 starts, 2 runs or less in all 8, and tonight he has been hitting his spots, except for one really bad one here to Brucey. Wanted to go low and away, up and down the middle, and that's the 1-run differential so far.
And quickly 2 down here in the Cincinnati 5th as Johnny Cueto steps in. The most consecutive starts to start a season, 6 or more innings, 2 earned runs or fewer the last 25 years. 8 in a row for Jurgens. Ubaldo Jimenez had 12 in a row to start the season for Colorado last year. Again, Jurgens quietly is putting up numbers and accomplishing things that very few active pitchers have done. And it seems as if Cueto is going to take. At least he did on that last pitch. Took high for ball 2. A good evening for Jurgens so far, but Cueto a little bit better. This time looked like he was in swing mode, but he takes a fastball at the knees, 2-2.
I think Johnny knows what's expected of him tonight, and that's to go deep into this game, and he doesn't want to waste his legs by getting on base. He has a 1-run lead. He's going to walk back to the bench.
Slashes it foul.
Lied.
My dad was a dentist. I could never partake. I was not allowed. Look at that swing. That's all for Cueto. 3 up and 3 down. Go the Reds. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th. 1-0 Cincinnati. Dig in. Bottom of the 5th here in Atlanta. Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball Players Association are working with Heart to Heart to help victims of the devastating tornadoes that have hit our country. Learn more about these efforts at hearttoheart.org. The pictures that we've all seen from so many of the affected areas, Joplin, Missouri among them, but it's hit so many states over the last couple of weeks. Just heartbreaking to see. Dan Uggla leads off the inning. Ground ball to short, 1 down.
Yeah, Dan, and on June 18th, Stanford on the Sound, we're going to be raising money for the victims of the tornadoes that have stricken so many people in this country and the tsunami in Japan. Going to try to raise over $1 million and make sure it gets to the boots on the ground and the people who have been affected by these devastating acts.
Here's Alex Gonzalez, 9 in a row now set down by Cueto, who's giving Dusty Baker everything he could have hoped for thus far.
Earl, you think it was mentioned to Johnny what was needed, or does it go unsaid?
I think it goes unsaid, but it's a tremendous responsibility for a starting pitcher, and you love to get it.
A base hit for Gonzalez. single for Alex Gonzalez here in the bottom of the 5th. The offensively challenged Atlanta Braves have a base runner for the first time since the 2nd. And here's David Ross, who struck out his first time up. Atlanta, because of the injury to Hayward, the struggles of Ugla, they are 9th in the National League in runs scored.
2nd in the National League in sacrifice bunts.
There's another base hit. 1st and 2nd.
You're probably going to see one of those sacrifice bunts right here. Jurgens coming up to the plate.
Exactly. We'll see if Cincinnati has a play on. They have a veteran defense. It's a bunt situation that could get a wheel going and probably get an out, but I think Dusty's probably going to try to play it safe and get an out at first base.
Foul ball.
Wow. Remember, the plate's in fair territory, and I think that ball was right over the plate when it was caught. Really difficult for a home plate umpire to call that. That's the umpires looking down the lines could tell where that ball is being caught and fielded. Dan's a very good umpire, though, behind the plate. Have the shortstop going in behind the runner at 2nd on that play with a fake throw. That isn't necessarily a pickoff, but that's a way of keeping the runner a little closer to the bag, not getting as much of an exaggerated lead, maybe getting him at 3rd.
2 balls and a strike on Jurgens, who has 1 sacrifice this year, 19 in his major league career, which goes back to 2007.
There, you heard that ball called down, but it might have looked down because Hernandez was popping up as he caught that ball. Gave the appearance to the umpire that the ball was low. I think the pitcher and catcher wanted it as a strike.
That's a fair ball, and they get the lead runner at 3rd and the double play to end the inning. Nicely executed by Hernandez and Rolen as Jurgens bunts into the double play.
Gets right out in the front of the plate, bare hands it, makes a perfect throw to 3rd. No question. Got to do better than that.
2-5-4 on the putout to end the inning. Still 1-0 Reds at the end of 5. Let's send it out to the Baseball Tonight crew. Here is Wendy Nix.
Dan,
This past week, what looks like a season-ending injury, a violent collision at home plate involving one of the great young talents in the game in Buster Posey. Bobby Orr, let's start with you, Bobby. What did you think of the play, and do you think there can be some kind of a change in the way that play is handled?
I don't think it can be changed as far as the rules are concerned, but I think what can be changed is an education that the catcher can catch the ball with one hand now. The glove holds the ball. It's not that old-time glove that you needed two hands to hold onto the ball. And he can make a swipe tag out in front of the plate just as the second baseman does or the third baseman does. It's the same play. The reason it was different all these years is because there was different equipment. Now they have very similar equipment. Why not change the technique rather than changing the culture?
Yeah, I thought Cousins did go out of his way to hit him, but the culture is for the runner. If you don't try and dislodge the ball, that you're not the type of player that you want on a team. And the catcher, if you don't block the plate, you're not the type of player we want on the team. The thing I thought that he went out of his way maybe a little too far is his head ends up on the first base side of the bag. Most of these collisions, the runner's head is on the outside part, and especially when there was so much plate there to be able to tag.
And again, unfortunately, it looks like it has cost Buster Posey the rest of his season. Scott Cousins says, hey, nobody feels worse than me. He actually, ironically, grew up in the Bay Area as a Giants fan. And the last thing he said he wants to be known for is ending somebody's season. Bobby, I want to go back a little bit to when you're managing. Mike Piazza is your catcher. Pudge Rodriguez is your catcher. As we go to the sixth inning here, 1-0 Reds. Drew Stubbs leading it off against Jair Jurgens.
And many other catchers.
Yep. But those two the most prominent, of course.
Yeah, and they're both going to go to the Hall of Fame. The reason they're going to go to the Hall of Fame is because they were healthy for all their career. And after talking to Brian McCann, I said, Brian, what's your take on this whole thing? He says, I want to play 145 games for my team. That's what's important for me to do. And that's how I do what I'm supposed to do best, by staying healthy. And then I said to Eddie Perez, their catching coach, Eddie, what do you teach these guys? He says, oh, it's simple. We block the plate when it's a little guy coming in.
And we get out of the way when a big guy's coming in?
out of the way when it's a big guy.
Stubbs pops it up. And Ugla is there. Did you discuss this play with a Piazza or a Pudge Rodriguez, how they should handle it?
Oh, totally.
What'd you say?
Well, I told them what I expected. I expected them to be in the lineup the next day. And that one run isn't going to make, in my mind, a difference in the season, nor will that one run, should that make a difference in the minds of the players that they're playing with. And that's another problem, Earl, that you're the man, you have to block the plate. You know what? I saw a catcher catch 19 innings the other day, block about 40 balls in the dirt. That's being a man, and they do it every single day. They don't have to sacrifice their body and their career to prove that.
Here's Brandon Phillips. Now, Oral, your catcher when you were a pitcher for many years was Mike Scioscia. Nobody perhaps is known more for blocking the plate than Mike Scioscia. What was his attitude about those plays?
His attitude was he didn't even need the ball before he was going to stop the runner. It was almost like, I'm going to stop the runner, and then when I receive the ball, I'll tag you out. And that actually happened, but he took some punishment back there.
Phillips skies one to very shallow right center, and Schaefer comes racing over right in front of Hinske, the right fielder, and makes the catch.
Well, Bobby, you said that Schaefer is going to make an impact on this Atlanta Brave team for a long time, and right here, he is fearless with this collision. Center fielder comes in front, right fielder supposed to go back. I think Hinske's in back there because he's just a little bit slower.
He's calling for it.
He called it, and Hinske pulled up just in time.
Almost went through the webbing of his glove, it looked like, as well. He may have been fearless for a collision, but he'd have gotten the worst of it with Eric Hinske. You okay with a center fielder going that far to make a catch?
I like a center fielder to catch everything he can. But here, that ball was up very high, so there's a lot of impact when it hits the glove. And his webbing, obviously, isn't tight enough.
Looks like it was going between the fingers. With those long gloves, the long fingers, you've got to... Sometimes they'll put an extra stitch there in the middle.
Yes.
2 down in the inning. The 7th putout recorded already by Schaefer tonight. 1-0 the Reds lead, and here's Joey Votto 1 for 2. So to just try to put an end to the story we're discussing. You guys don't think there will be a rule change, but you think there may be a bit of a philosophical change?
I think the best thing I've heard is Bobby's history lesson on the glove and how the philosophy could change there at home plate on the tags.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to have two hands on today's glove. It's a one-handed swipe, and you don't need to end your career by saving a run. That mentality, I think, should go out the window.
Ball 4 to Votto. So you would tell your catchers, give up part of the plate, be a little towards first base so you can sweep a tag.
Yeah, I would teach them to be an athlete. You know, they're all great athletes. This Buster Posey was a shortstop. It's very easy for him to stand as the second baseman and shortstop do now in front of the bag, catch that ball as it's coming in, shuffle his feet, make a tag. The problem is, as John Kruk pointed out, sometimes they'll slide late. But you can tag a guy as he's sliding late. He's still going to be out if you tag him before he gets to the plate.
Here's Scott rolling. Let's go down to Buster.
There's no question change is coming, at least with some organizations, guys. I talked with general managers this week who privately are saying they are going to instruct their catchers to not put themselves in harm's way for the same reason that they restrict innings on pitchers, that they put pitchers on pitch counts. It's a big picture financial decision.
And of course, when it happens to a significant player like Buster Posey, I mean a star who's played for the world champions last year, it's going to draw more attention.
David Ross pointed that out to me before the game yesterday when he said, well, you know what I really think about it? If that was me getting hurt, no one would be mentioning anything right now.
That's right.
But, you know, there's that other issue that happened, and we don't want to go too philosophical, but when Marlon Byrd got hit in the face, possibly ending his career, possibly blinding him, who knows how he's going to come out, I think there should be some legislation put in the rules about guys who hit people in the head when they're pitching. I don't think it should be allowed.
Whether it was deemed intentional or not?
If it's not intentional, then you shouldn't be at this level if you can't control the ball well enough so it doesn't hit someone in their head.
Now to play, 0-2 on Roland.
As long as their head starts and finishes in a place where the head should be.
Oh, another good point. That's what Brian McCann said. He said, yeah, well, maybe the line that in the batter's box should be moved back a little because some of these guys get up to the plate and their head even starts over the inside corner. That's a fact. That's a fact. But, you know, you can't dive into the ball.
Right.
Right.
And I understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were going to start talking about legislating a cage in front of the batters.
No cages, no cages. It's a deadly weapon. The ball is actually a deadly weapon. Here's Brian McCann, who plays most of the games. Chipper takes off when he's playing. He takes off when Chipper's playing. It's a little juggling act that Freddie Gonzalez has to do because he doesn't want both of them out of the lineup at the same time.
Well, and especially with Dan Uggla struggling and Jason Hayward out of the lineup, that is something that he has to do, particularly right now. If Uggla was hitting the way he was and Hayward was in there hitting, they could both take the day off if they needed to.
Runner goes, and it's fouled off by Roland. And Dusty Baker trying to make something happen. Joey Votto with a motion with 2 down and a 1-2 count.
I think Joey had that base stolen. He had a very good jump. They really weren't paying much attention to him. Went on that first movement of the left heel as it disengaged from the ground.
There's 10 to 15 bags out there for almost anyone that wants to pay attention and be a base stealer.
Agreed, totally.
Once you get above 10 to 15, then the attention starts to come from the pitchers and the catchers and the bench. But there are 10 to 15 that when they get a little lazy and a little lackadaisical, and you can find places to swipe them no matter how fast you run.
Going again. Ball 3. Throw down. Got it. Ross having a big night. Inning over. Ball presented by Taco Bell. Time now for a look at our game track, brought to you by USAA. Two managers who were desperately hoping for good performances from their starting pitchers because of how overworked their bullpens have been, and so far so good from a pitching department. The only run of the game coming on Jay Bruce's 15th home run of the season off Jair Jurgens back at the top of the second. Jurgens and Cueto both have been very, very good tonight. I think the Reds in somewhat more of a difficult circumstance in their pen, so Cueto's performance maybe even a little bit more important for his team than Jurgens is for his, and so far Cueto has really delivered.
Dusty even entertained a 2-inning save opportunity that might present itself tonight
for Francisco Cordero, who by the way has 299 career saves. Schaefer a base hit and a ground out, and running wild in the outfield tonight, making 7 putouts.
They tell me he can really bunt for a base hit. I'd really like to see him take one with him right here and test the right side of the infield.
Two and two the count. Schaefer bunted for a base hit last night. Also made a great catch last night and scored the winning run on the Chipper Jones base hit in the 12th inning. And this will be out of play. You go back 2 years, opening day 2009 against the Phillies. Jordan Schaefer in his first major league at bat hits a home run. And he later said, very recently said, he thinks it was the worst thing that happened to him because he tried to be something he was not. He got carried away with that home run. He eventually sustained a wrist injury that cost him most of 2009, really set him back in 2010. They sent him to AAA, then they sent him to AA. And now after the Nate McLouth injury, Schaefer is back and in his 5th game here with the big club here in 2011. Fighting off some tough pitches.
He brings an energy to the Braves also, not just the abilities in center field to run down the fly ball and the ability to bunt for a hit, but there's an emotional energy that Freddie Gonzalez likes when he's in the locker room, when he's on the bench.
And needed with this Braves team.
Ripped down the right field line, foul. C.B. Buckner with a call, the first base umpire. That ball was laced.
Very difficult to keep the inside pitch fair. This pitch is in off the plate. He gets his hands in because he gets so firm and turned with the bottom half of his body that he gets his hands in and barely hits a double on the right field line. Ooh.
Yeah, good call. Here comes the 8th pitch of the at-bat. Schaefer battling Cueto here to begin the bottom of the 6th. The Braves out hitting the Reds 4-3, but trailing 1-0. Missed outside with a breaking ball, full count.
It's a big pitch in a 3-2 count, no out with a runner on at the plate that could turn a walk into a double.
Low ball 4. All right, Bobby, take us inside Freddie Gonzalez's head right now. He's got a guy with decent speed at first. They hardly ever steal successfully. He's got a guy who can really handle the bat at the plate. 1-run game, 6th inning. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking hit and run. Freddie doesn't use the hit and run very often, but this is a perfect situation. All you need is a count that's not going to be a pitch out count. Either do it on the first pitch and make it happen, or get something where you're ahead in the count and let Martin handle that bat as well as he can.
Again, just 9 stolen bases so far this season. This is their 54th game of the season.
We mentioned he has a green light sometimes. This is not one of the times he would have a green light, but it is one of the perfect counts for a hit and run.
And one of the perfect guys at the plate to execute it. Inside again. All of a sudden, Cueto walks his first batter of the night here to begin the 6th, and now falls behind 2-0 on Prado.
Johnny Cueto, over the course of his career and this year, has a tendency to be worse out of the stretch. Some pitchers get better out of the stretch because there's less movement, but he pitches better from the windup, and especially when there's a runner that has some speed, he starts to change his mechanics to go faster to home plate. As you can see, the base is empty, 193, runners on 250. And with the runners in scoring position also, it's about overthrowing. So it's either an emotional change or a mechanical change that sometimes makes him worse.
This is not a hit and run count.
Schaefer peeking over. Ryan Snitker, the third base coach, wanted to make sure he knows what's on. 18 steals and 31 attempts in the minors the last 2 years. Not going. And a swing and a high drive. Deep left field. Gone! Atlanta leads. Chipper Jones, the batter. Oral, you were talking about how he can struggle out of the stretch. He was thinking about the runner a little bit, and Prado got him.
Watch him throw this pitch from the mound. Watch the full hip turn and the leg lift. You watch on the home run, you watch his leg lift, and there's no hip turn. He rushes the lower half, eliminates parts of his delivery to throw the ball quicker to home, and that's why the ball ends up and straight with less velocity a lot of times. He has a big shoulder turn and a big hip turn on the mound, and Prado, instead of him having the shoulder turn and the hip turn on the mound, he did it at the plate.
What a good player. 2-2.
We just can't talk enough about Martin Prado, though. He knew that entire at bat what he was going to do. He was thinking hit and run. He got in a 2-0 count. He says I could let it out. He let it out, drove in 2 runs. And remember, he was a second baseman when the season started last year. They got Dan Uggla, and without a peep out of him, he moved to left field, knowing that this was his arbitration year, knowing that he would be compared to outfielders in arbitration, which will cost them millions of dollars instead of second baseman, where he could be in the top of the list, and he's never blinked an eye. Went out there and has played as well as anybody in the league.
High in the air to left field. Jones retired, 1 down.
Now watch the difference from Johnny Cueto's mechanics in the stretch to the windup. We just saw him taking full shoulder turns and full hip turns with a lot of weight from the left leg into the right. You see the dead front hip. The back leg barely gets through with weight, and it's left up because when the lower half rushes, the upper half is late and the ball remains up.
Very difficult to get that low and away where the target was.
Prado suffering a little bit the last couple of years because he was a utility guy. I mean, a great player, but he played at second, at third, wherever they needed him. But he hit .307 last year and finished 9th in the National League in most valuable player balloting. He had 40 doubles, 15 homers, He hit .307 the year before last. So this guy's been getting it done kind of under the radar, but ask the other 24 guys, his teammates, not to mention his manager and coaches, what Prado means to this team. Now Hinske hits it a ton, but is way out in front of the changeup.
You're so right, Dan. I was in spring training 2 years ago, and I was around the batting cage, and I thought of him as a nice little player. And at the end of the half hour, the admiration, the respect that I saw the other players give him said to me that this guy is a special player.
Named to the All-Star game last year for the first time in his career. Plays a pretty good left field for a guy who's never played left field before this year, too.
Well, he has played, I guess, in Venezuela. In his Winter League team, he has played some left field, so it wasn't brand new to him. But, you know, it's not like playing second base and being an all-star. It's going to be tough to be an all-star left fielder. Even though he's one of the best players in the league. Might not get the votes.
Yeah, before he went to the outfield, a great comparison for him was Placido Polanco. Another guy plays second and third. A great number 2 hitter, a guy who's tough to strike out, uses the whole field. These guys don't get the attention. They don't hit 30, 40 home runs, but boy, they help you win ball games. Huh?
And you know, you talk about left field in Venezuela. He played left field in Venezuela because there were some younger kids that need more reps in Venezuela. He was looking out for them even there. And he said, I'll play left field. And you know what? He looks like he's played it for a long, long time.
Well, I hope he gets his recognition. I hope he gets his votes. And I hope he gets his day in arbitration, because he is the kind of guy that every team needs to build around and other players need to emulate.
A 2-run home run by Prado here in the bottom of the 6th has given the Braves a 2-1 lead. Eric Hinske's at first with 1 out. This is Freddie Freeman, hit by a pitch, and he's also struck out. Cueto just getting a visit from Brian Price, his pitching coach. The pitch count is reasonably low for Cueto. Nobody is up in the pen. They may not be answering the phone. It's been ringing so much for them over the last week.
It might be broken. Might be all wrung out for this series.
And the Reds made another move today. They called up left-handed pitcher Tom Cochran, whose first appearance will be his major league debut. And Sam LeCure's had a sore forearm. He's on the DL. Now fly ball to left. It's carrying. It is caught at the fence by Lewis.
So the struggles from the stretch for Cueto have been with location. Once he got into a stretch, he starts leaving the ball away. He tries to come in here to Prado, can't get there, and then leaves one over the middle of the plate with a little rush. 2 mistakes inside for balls, and then tries to come back in the same place and left it over the plate.
And when Cueto's been in the stretch tonight, the Braves are 3 for 8, backing up exactly what Oral's been talking about tonight. Dan Uggla the batter. And again, Cueto misses badly as he falls behind. Uggla with a base hit and a ground out. Even with the hit tonight, just 4 for his last 43.
Johnny Cueto is pitching for the team right now. Individually, he's disappointed to be down 2-1. He's throwing a shutout. But right now, it's about being efficient and getting to the end. Even if they lose this game 2-1, he can go 8 innings. It would help the Reds in the long run.
Keep in mind, again, they begin another series tomorrow. It's against Milwaukee, a good offensive team, a team they're competing with in the National League Central. The Reds have made, as we mentioned earlier, have made pitching moves 6 times in the last 7 days. They've either DL'd somebody, called up somebody, sent down somebody. 6 of the last 7 days, a total of 14 pitchers involved in those moves.
And you saw Dusty's record before the game with Cincinnati is 1 game under 500. His team this year is 1 game under 500. This really is a big game for them.
Broken bat, roller to short to end the inning. But what an inning it was for the Atlanta Braves after getting shut out through 5 by Johnny Cueto. Martin Prado with a 2-run homer, and a 1-0 deficit is now a 2-1 lead for the hometown Braves here at Turner Field. Baseball presented by Taco Bell is brought to you by Sears Blue Lawn and Garden Crew. Compare all the ways Sears beats Home Depot and Lowe's for the right to be on your lawn. And by ING. With Bobby Valentine and Oral Hershiser, I'm Dan Schulman. It's Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Good pitchers duel here in Atlanta tonight. We go to the 7th with Cincinnati now trailing 2-1 after the Prado home run in the bottom of the 6th. Roland, Bruce, Lewis facing Jurgens. And a little nubber out back toward the mound. Jurgens in time to get him for the out. So meanwhile, the focus now turns to Jurgens. Just 79 pitches through 6 1/3. He has gone 6 or more innings in every start that he has made this season. This is his 9th. The major league leader in ERA coming in at 156. And now with Jay Bruce, he have the home run tonight. Chipper Jones and David Ross are coming out with a game plan, Oral.
I think this meeting on the mound is about how to approach him. But this home run will force you to have meetings and talk about how to pitch him. He got a fastball there. The next at bat, they started him with breaking balls and changeup, so I don't think he'll see many fastballs for strikes here.
Well, that conference on the mound was initiated by Chipper Jones. He called David Ross out to the mound, and he was the one doing the talking. Very interesting. It looks like he said, don't come back off the throttle. Go right after him. Show me what you got now. You're our ace. Maybe it could have been a talk like that rather than pitch around him and put the tying run on base. Fastball in.
Time. 2 balls and a strike.
That was a change up inside, huh? Nice pitch. Fooled the umpire.
Check swing. No, he didn't. And the count 3-1. Bruce, a career high 25 home runs last year. He's already got 15 this season. Liner to left, and it'll drop for a base hit.
Would have been different if Worrell had that conversation.
I'll tell you what, when hitters are hot, they have good takes and good check swings, and then they get finally a pitch to hit. The changeup inside that Bruce takes, the fastball away, low and away that he could have grounded out the short very easily. But then he finally gets a fastball up, and he drives it into left center. It is so hard to pitch to guys that are locked in.
Fred Lewis, first pitch swinging, skies one to right field for Hinske. Out number 2.
Intimidating to a pitcher is a hitter that is locked in and also will not swing at your out pitches. 1-1 count, a nice little changeup in there. Why aren't you trying to swing at it with the hot bat? Why aren't you swinging at that? But you wait for me to make a mistake. I make 2 great pitches I should possibly get outs on. You make me throw a third one and I miss, and you hit it.
11 of the outs in the air tonight. 11 of them fly ball outs. And some of them, especially early in the game, were hard hit balls.
Worrell, you're so on point with that conversation. The inning prior, Schaefer did the same thing. 9-pitch at bat, never swung at the pitcher's pitch unless the foul it off. Took the inside fastball, drove it down the right field line, and worked the walk. I think you have to give him an assist in that at bat for Prado's home run.
Right-hander Jose Arredondo, former Angel, is up now in the Cincinnati pen.
And how many times do the fans at home hear us say that a manager or a hitting coach says he's real close, he's getting real close? And that's not about the hot hitter. That's about guys who just are having good at bats. They can tell they're seeing the ball better, and they can tell they're on time, and the hits will start coming.
Exactly.
Foul ball. The count remains 0-2 on Ramon Hernandez. So Bruce will make his way back to first. Hernandez, a couple of ground balls to short tonight. Robbed his first time on a great play by Alex Gonzalez. The lead by Bruce. And again, the 0-2. And another play for the shortstop Gonzalez, and he's retired Hernandez all 3 times tonight. 7th inning stretch in Atlanta. Braves 2, Reds 1.
Rhett Butler said, frankly, he didn't give a damn. Rhett Butler didn't drive in Atlanta. They say here, Peachtree Street has no beginning and no end, and is not to be confused with Peachtree Circle, Peachtree Plaza, Peachtree Place, Peachtree Battle, Peachtree Center, or Peachtree Corners. So what you need to know is follow Peachtree to Peachtree, left on Peachtree, and right on 2nd Peachtree thereafter. Then stop and ask, which way to turn?
Welcome back to Atlanta as we observe this Memorial Day weekend. The Braves leading the Reds 2-1 as we go to the bottom of the 7th here on Sunday Night Baseball. Let's take a look now at tonight's Memorial Day tributes, brought to you by USAA, and one of the greatest left-handed pitchers in baseball history. And, of course, a guy who did so much for the Atlanta Braves. The winningest left-hander, 363 wins, served in the Army. Warren Spahn served in the Army from 1942 to 45, was wounded, received the Bronze Star, Purple Heart, and a battlefield commission in World War II when he was raised to the rank of 2nd lieutenant. Of course, we're in an area that has a very strong feeling towards the military. Robins Air Force Base, Dobbins Air Force Base, Fort Benning, all located in the state of Georgia. Oops. And Gonzalez gets hit on the first pitch by Johnny Cueto, and Gonzalez has taken exception to that.
I don't think he thought that was intentional. He just felt that it hurt. When someone throws the ball at you and you feel some pain, you're going to say, oh, darn, throw it over the plate, will you?
Looked like it got him right on the elbow, too.
One of those things I can't understand. Why doesn't everybody wear elbow guards? They're allowed. Just put them on. That's going to hurt for a week.
And Gonzalez down to first to lead off the bottom of the 7th. David Ross will be the batter. Johnny Cueto still in there. And Arredondo continues to throw in the Cincinnati pen. He just went a third of an inning through 2 pitches last night. So he's one of the few available guys for Dusty Baker right now. Ross a strikeout and a base hit. He's also thrown out 2 runners tonight.
Sometimes when your star player's out of the game and he's replaced, you want the guy replacing him not to do anything to lose the game. But when David Ross replaces Brian McMahon, he actually helps the team win so many different ways.
Offensively and defensively, good leadership out there on the field. Prado getting restless here with Cueto. There's Brian McCann, hit 2 home runs last night. An all-star 5 times in his first 6 major league seasons. And if you look at catchers who have done that, been an all-star 5 times in their first 6 seasons, Roy Campanella,
Yogi Berra.
Yogi Berra.
Yes.
No, I'm sorry, not Yogi Berra. Johnny Bench, and then 2 guys you know very well. In Pudge Rodriguez and Mike Piazza.
I'll be darned.
Yogi was robbed.
Yogi was robbed. He was robbed.
And Brian McCann. That's a pretty impressive list Brian McCann is on.
He's a pretty impressive player. Caught all 12 innings last night, in case people are wondering why he's not in there today. And there's a day game tomorrow, and this is all about the long run. This guy's played as many innings as anybody in baseball thus far.
And as humid as it was here, he had some cramping, a lot of dehydration for a lot of the players last night. So Cueto needs to get it together right here to help the bullpen, to help the Reds. So it took him 60 pitches to get through the first 5 innings. 31 to get through last inning. Starts with a hit batter in the first pitch here, and it's now kind of
Swing and a miss by Ross for out number 1. Well, we mentioned Memorial Day and some of the great players who have served in the military. We mentioned Yogi Berra. He was in the Navy at World War II. Bob Feller missed a few years serving in the Navy at World War II, as did Hank Greenberg. And, of course, maybe the best-known great baseball player, also known for serving in the military, is Ted Williams, a fighter pilot for the Marines in World War II and the Korean War in the early 50s. Jurgens gets the bunt down. Ball still on the field. And finally, Votto will pick it up and fire it down to Phillips for the out. Sacrifice moves Gonzalez to second, 2 down.
Communication. Go-o.
I'll tell you what, you come off the mound, does a great job getting the bunt down on the high pitch. Right there, Cueto gave up on it because he felt footsteps. Phillips stayed with the bag there at first, fortunately, and Votto stayed with the play. Cueto was like, oh, get out of the way, and that was a nice wrong foot throw by Joey Votto in desperation, made it accurately. That could have turned into a circus.
Well, the sacrifice works, so a base hit here by Schaefer could make it a 3-1 game, and the way tonight's going, every run's so precious.
And Dan, we mentioned veterans who had played in the major leagues. Earl's manager and my good friend Tommy Lasorda served our country in World War II, and he's recovering from an infection. He was in the hospital for part of the week. You know he's listening, and just want him to know we're all wishing him the best.
Also wishing the best for Hall of Famer Gary Carter, who, as baseball fans know, is battling brain tumors, and we wish the kid the very best. A swing and a pop-up at a very shallow left field, and the inning is over. The Braves will leave a man on. We're at the end of 7 in Atlanta. Braves 2, Reds 1. Braves leading the Reds 2-1 after the two teams split the first 2 games of the series. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere. Watch over 100 live out-of-market games per week online and on your favorite device. Visit MLB.TV for details.
Yeah.
So as we go to the 8th inning, the Reds down a run. Paul Janisch is going to lead it off. And in the background, you can see there's Johnny Gomes, who is out on the on-deck circle in Johnny Cueto's spot. Gomes had a 4-hit night last night. Pulled fair. Down the left field line. Giannis will stop with a single. And the tying run is aboard to begin the 8th inning. And now with a runner on, Cueto's coming back out to get a bunt down. Surprise, Bobby?
Considering Milwaukee's coming up, Dusty's played these games now where he's been behind, tied it up, and then gone into extra innings, I would say I'm not surprised. I think he still thinks Johnny has plenty in his arm and he wants to get another inning or two out of him. Now, if he had a nice left-handed hitter playing on the road, could use that hole, I could see it. But with Johnny Gomes coming up, who's a double play at times waiting to happen, 4 hits last night, but really been slumping all year, I understand this.
And the bunt will work. Sacrifice for Cueto to second Giannis. What about the philosophy of playing for the win on the road versus the tie? Here's Dusty playing for 1 run to tie the game on the road in the 8th inning.
Yeah, I know why he did it. I would not have done it, considering my bullpen, considering the situation, considering I'm on the road, considering I have to do Milwaukee. But I think he really wants a rested bullpen going into the Memorial Series, and that's his #1 concern right now.
And that was his #1 concern when we talked to him before the game. Here's Drew Stubbs. All the innings and the pitches the bullpen had thrown with a 19-inning game Wednesday, the 12-inning game last night. Bronson Arroyo only going 3.
So it's a situation of maybe sacrificing this inning or 2, or maybe even this game, to be ready for tomorrow. Still giving himself a chance to win. Now he's not putting up a white flag, sending Johnny Cueto out there and having a man on second and 1 out. That's for sure.
That's got to be an internal struggle, though, that a manager has often to balance today versus tomorrow.
A real internal struggle, and when you're going head-to-head against the hottest team in your division, it's on your mind. We saw it prevalent today in our meetings pregame.
A foul tip, says Dan Iasonia, the home plate umpire, and that is all for Stubbs.
Well, Jair Jurgens has been on his game tonight. He has made some good pitches. And here he's at the bottom of the strike zone, the top of the strike zone, and then goes up with the waste pitch, but gets the foul tip and gets himself a strikeout.
The last 11 pitches that Jurgens has thrown have been strikes. He's only at 94 pitches with 2 outs in the 8th inning, nursing a 2-1 lead. Tying run at second, 2 down. Brandon Phillips, always dangerous, is the batter. And a strike. Phillips 0 for 3, all flyouts.
And that was Stubbs' 66th strikeout on the season so far. All the more reason to get Reyes so that he can move down in the order and swing at a few more first pitches.
Way inside. Jurgens, his 9th start of the season, in each of the first 8, 6 or more innings, 2 or fewer earned runs. So if he does not exceed the 2 earned runs here tonight, obviously he's beyond the 6 innings. It would be 9 straight starts to begin the season, 6 or more innings, 2 or fewer earned runs. He is the major league leader in ERA coming into this game.
That's the pitch that he has not had tonight. He has not had the slider at all. He's had the fastball. He's located it in. He's kept it down at times. He's had the changeup, but the slider has really not been an out pitch for him.
And time called. Such a key moment in this game right now. A 1-run game with 2 outs in the 8th inning. The tying run at second. A dangerous hitter at the plate. The count in his favor. And the reigning MVP in the on-deck circle. And if this were a normal situation for Atlanta, Johnny Venters would be up in the pen or in the game right now. But Venters went 2 innings last night, unavailable. Left-hander George Sherrill, right-hander Corey Guerin, just promoted today. Hooked into left field, a base hit. Getting the wave home is the runner. The throw to the plate on a bounce. Out at home.
What a great throw by Prado. One bouncing it into home. Great tag by David Ross. And a great slide by Yarnes. Coming inside. I think he missed the tag, but it was executed so well by everyone here on the one-hop throw. Inside slide. Ooh, Dan's right on it. He sees it better than we do. Let's see what the replay says. Inconclusive.
Jurgens pumped. Martin Prado doing it all tonight. Atlanta still leads. Thrown out by Martin Prado to preserve the 2-1 lead for the Braves in the 8th inning. Giannis arguing briefly with home plate umpire Dan Iassogna between innings. We go bottom 8 now. Look who it is. It's Prado. He hit the home run in the 6th inning to give him the lead. He throws out a runner to preserve the lead. And by the way, let us not forget that David Ross tonight has thrown out 2 runners and made a tag at the plate. He's having a terrific night as well.
And let us not forget that the all-star ballots are out. You can cast your votes. David Ross will not get the votes.
I think I might nominate you to be president of the Martin Prado fan club. You've got a lot of jobs already. You don't have a lot of free time. Can you take on one more gig?
I love baseball players, and he's a very good baseball player.
Every manager needs a Prado or two, right, to have a good team. You need a guy like that.
Earl, your thoughts?
You'd love to have these guys on your team, I tell you what. And then if you ever have to have a team meeting and they speak, you listen to every word because they do everything. They have all the effort. They'll do whatever it takes for the team.
Inside.
Well, I'm not going to talk about him anymore, but I'll just tell you, yesterday during practice, he got through with his batting practice, went into the dugout. Someone wanted to have a quick little interview with him. He said, no, I have to go and shag my balls in left field. He shagged his balls. He came in, did the interview, went inside, and came out and played 12 innings.
Up and in, ball 4. Prado draws the leadoff walk. Another look at the play that ended the top of the 8th. Well, we will get to it when we come back. Looks like Dusty Baker's going to go to the pen as he makes his way out to the mound. He hasn't signaled yet. Arredondo was up last inning and just got up again. This is the 3rd time Arredondo has been up, but he just got up now. It looks like Dusty Baker's not quite ready to take Cueto out yet. He's going to leave him. Dusty said he needed a lot from Johnny Cueto, and he's living up to that right now. All right, now let's go back to the top of the 8th inning and revisit that play where Prado throws out Giannis at the plate.
Prado makes a nice throw. It's a little high, but you know what? He gets it on line. He gives him a chance. And I'll tell you what, right there it's blocked out, but just see where the foot is, because I don't see a glove there yet, and then the glove comes in late. I thought he snuck in there and beat the tag. You almost have to paste it together in your memory of all the different angles of the replay. You look and see where the toe is now, and the glove hasn't hit. And now the glove finally hits, and the foot is already by the plate. And we know from the other angle that the foot did touch the plate when it got to the plate. So you patch them together. I think he was safe.
Sharply hit to second. Phillips juggles, and as a result has to take the out at first. Prado into second.
You guys are going to leave me hanging on the analysis of the replay, or are you going to have a vote on it?
I thought you were terrific, and Danny was right on that play. If anything was tagged, it was just a bit of his back of his shirt.
Maybe
right here as he tags, as he reaches out. We can't tell if he's tagging him or not and where his foot is.
But even if there was a tag at the moment when you think there was a tag, I think the foot is already by the plate.
Such a close play. That's why we have to have someone there
and now
to make the call, and he's right on it. I'm going with him.
Okay.
And you know that little trip to the mound, I don't mean to get away from it, but Dusty Baker just told Johnny Cueto, forget about that run being thrown out at home. Forget about your emotion. We need you to get through this inning. We need another inning out of you. And it looks like Johnny got his head back together a little. Now he's asking for the ball and questioning the umpire.
So Dusty Baker's philosophy tonight is object number 1 is preserve the bullpen. Object number 2 is win the game.
Yes. And hopefully do both.
Right.
And he's got the heart of his order coming up next inning. It's not like he's waving the white flag.
Right. I mean, this is a great game. This kid's pitching a great game, and he deserves to win if he could get through this inning.
Change up at the knees for a strike. 2-1 the count on Hinske. Hinske over 2 with a walk tonight. Came into the game hitting .348 in the month of May. And another ground ball to second. Phillips from a knee will throw him out. 2 down. Prado to third. Meanwhile, in the Atlanta pen, available is their closer, Craig Kimbrel. So he is up and getting ready for a potential save opportunity in the 9th. Jurgens is still in the dugout, so it's not a done deal that Kimbrel's coming in. Jurgens through 8 innings has given up just a run on 6 hits tonight. Freddie Freeman hoping to give the Braves a little bit more of a cushion. Good pitch there.
And if anyone's locked in on this lineup the last few nights, it's Freddie Freeman. Good at-bats tonight. Good at-bats last night. Got to be very careful in this situation with Dan Uggla on deck.
The Reds right now are in 3rd in the National League Central. The St. Louis Cardinals continue to lead the division. Cardinals beat Colorado today 4-3. Brewers are 2.5 out. Reds are 4.5 out. Up the middle, but right at Giannis, who's playing behind the bag, and the inning is over. So we're going to the 9th here in Atlanta. The Braves looking to take 2 out of 3 from the Reds. They've got a 2-1 lead with the heart of the order coming up for Cincinnati. Ball is presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Ninth inning at Turner Field in Atlanta. The Braves lead the Reds 2-1. A well-pitched game, an entertaining game. And a couple of changes. Joe Mather is in the game in right field. And here's the closer for the Atlanta Braves, Craig Kimbrel. Looking for his 15th save of the season. If he's going to get it, he's going to earn it. Votto, Roland, Bruce. High ball one at 97.
Yeah, many times the defensive replacement comes in, and this time of the game you see a double switch. No double switch here because Brian McCann's on the bench. He'll be hitting if Kimbrel gives up a run or two in this inning.
Kimbrel falls behind 2-0. When he's in the strike zone, he is overpowering, but does at times struggle with his command. Inside, 3-0. Kimbrel worked an inning last night, also worked an inning Friday night. He's pitched 4 of the last 5, now 5 of the last 6 days as he walks Votto on 4 pitches. Let's go back to the Giannis play at the plate, Prado throwing him out. We've got Dan Iasonia, the home plate umpire, Mike tonight. And that's a huge play. That had that run scored, that would have tied the game for Cincinnati in the 8th inning. Meanwhile, this crowd, they are turning ugly in a hurry as Kimbrel has thrown 5 pitches, all of them balls. The batter, Scott Rowland. Rowland tonight is 0 for 3. Kimbrel in 26 innings this year has 38 strikeouts. He's 1-2 with a 3.12 ERA, 14 saves and 18 opportunities.
He has a great slider and a great fastball, and he can strike you out. Also can walk you. Some people say he walks the leadoff hitter sometimes just to make it a little more challenging. I heard that in their dugout yesterday before the game. Believe me, they said that.
Effectively wild, but sometimes that makes you effectively nervous.
And the crowd was nervous because, not because he's in the game, but because Jurgen's out of the game.
Jurgen's 8 innings, a run on 6 hits, looking for his 7th win of the season against just 1 defeat. Slider chop foul, 1-2. Rowland pops up for out number 1. But Kimbrel not out of the woods yet. Here comes a guy who leads the National League in home runs with 15, including he hit the one he hit tonight, Jay Bruce. And the Braves have yet to get him out tonight.
The guy's hot. They usually hit off the fastball, and that's where Bruce has been hitting. And they start him off with a wrinkle.
And another wrinkle. Two sliders as he jumps out in front, 0-2. Now all of a sudden, Kimbrel's the most popular guy in the ballpark. They're all behind him now.
3 pitches, 3 strikes, but not 3 in the strike zone. The first pitch breaking ball sets it all up. Now it's like, okay, he's ahead. I got to swing when he's close, and he does, and now he goes up the ladder. Good morning, good afternoon, good night.
Sometimes you just got to tip your cap. Fred Lewis to try to keep it alive for the Reds. All of a sudden, it's turned into a playoff atmosphere here in Atlanta on a Memorial Day weekend. They are fired up here in the 9th inning. Cincinnati got a run on the second on the home run by Bruce. Atlanta got their 2 runs on a 2-run homer by Prado in the 6th. That's it. 2-1 Braves, top 9. 2 balls and a strike. The tying run is at first base, Joey Votto. Decent speed. 2-1 on Fred Lewis. Kimbrel trying to save it for Jurgens. Outside, ball 3. Freddy Gonzalez looks calm. 3-1 the count. Base hit through the right side. Votto to second.
Wow. That's a 3-1 count. Fastball hit to right field. Oral. Joey Votto does not know where the outfielder's playing, doesn't realize the importance of him going to third.
And the outfielders are all playing no doubles, so they're playing with the paint on the wall scraping their back so nothing gets over their head. And it's any base hit, you should be on third base.
So the tying run at second with 2 down. The go-ahead run at first for Dusty Baker's Reds, and the batter is catcher Ramon Hernandez.
And we know about the rules about making the first out or the third out at third base, but that's a gimme. He should be on third base.
Again, Kimbrel is working for the 5th time in the last 6 days. The Braves bullpen overworked almost as much as the Reds bullpen. Slider for a strike. The Phillies lost today to the Mets 9-5, so Atlanta can pick up a game in the National League East. Sent foul off to the right, scattering the Atlanta Braves in that first base dugout. The first home run Craig Kimbrel gave up as a big leaguer was Friday night, and he gave it up to Ramon Hernandez. This battle continues. Got him. The Braves win 2-1 as Hernandez strikes out against Kimbrel, who picks up his 15th save. Martin Prado hits a home run, and throws out the potential tying run at the plate in the 8th inning. And the Chevrolet player of the game tonight is Martin Prado. The home run, as we mentioned, also throwing out Giannis at the plate in the 8th inning. What a night he had. Jurgens the win. Kimbrel the save. David Ross a big part of this game as well for Atlanta as the Reds lose again. They've now lost 10 of their last 12. Martin Prado was with Buster Olney.
Martin, you come up against Johnny Cueto. 2 balls, no strikes. What were you looking to do on that pitch?
I mean, it's always tough to face Prado. He got great command tonight, and he always has. But I mean, I was looking for middle lane, man, and trying to put the barrel on my bat and ball and put it on play. And I'm glad that I hit it out for my team, and I'm glad that we got the win.
You throw out the potential tying run at home plate. Walk us through that play. What you saw, what you were thinking.
Man, as soon as I got the ball, I kind of throw that ball to the home plate, and as quick as I could, and I'm so happy that it was out because I was at, pretty big play for the game.
The Braves have moved you to second, they moved you to third, they moved you to left field. You never complain. Why not?
Because I love this game. I love my teammates. They always they got a great support for me, and I respect that. And it's not about me, it's about the team.
Martin, thanks. Dan, back to you.
All right, Buster, boy, if you could just bottle that. It's not about me, it's about the team. Pretty good night for an awfully good player. Martin Prado with a home run, and then the assisted home play throwing out Paul Giannis. I know, Bobby, you love this guy. I mean, you just think he's a great player, and you think he does so many things to help the team win a ball game, and we saw that tonight.
Well, again, I'm just reflecting what I've heard from his teammates and from his opposition, and then what my eyes tell me. He can do so many things in a ball game to help your team win. He goes out and plays every day, and his work ethic is something that just needs to be emulated. It is what baseball playing should be all about at the major league level.
Helped him offensively and defensively, and somehow, again, maybe overshadowed a little bit, Jair Jurgens. He wins again. He lowers his ERA, which was already the best in the major leagues. The guy's amazing.
Yeah, and he battled through it. He was going up against a tough competitor in Cueto. Cueto was on top of it, 1-0, but Jurgens kept battling and waited for the offense, and it finally came. It was a just enough night for the Braves. Just enough from Jurgens, just enough from Kimbrel, just enough from Ross doing it behind the plate, and just enough from Prado.
Great game tonight. Atlanta beats Cincinnati 2-1. They take the series 2-1, and they pick up a game on the Phillies in the National League East while the Reds continue to struggle. They've lost 10 of 12. They'll start a series at home against divisional rival Milwaukee tomorrow. The final score from Atlanta, the Braves 2 and the Reds 1. Coming up next here on ESPN. Stay tuned for SportsCenter. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Oral Hershiser.